Welcome back. Today's little adventure is going to be I'd almost call it a retro PC. It's a Celeron based machine, I think, so I suppose it's retro, but I picked it up at the local tip shop for I think $10. Don't know whether it works or not, but yeah, you can see, it's just a run-of-the-mill machine. Got an Iris badge on the front. Iris, I believe, is Ian Rumney Information Systems, which is a computer supplier support company that existed back in, well, at least the 90s, maybe even the 80s. I believe they still actually exist today. Whether they still sell PCs or whether they're just, doing system support for companies, I don't know. But anyway, let's break this machine open and see what we got. So first port of call is going to be these screws in the back. This brings back memories, breaking open PCs. I used to do this all the time back in the 80s and 90s. Not so much these days. I've given up for the most part. Where'd that screw go? Oh, there. I've given up for the most part tinkering with PCs and building PCs. I mean, my video editing PC I built, but that's probably the first machine I built in, if I had to guess, 10 years. Now this should slide off like that. And there we go. So we've got, well, let's get this out of the way. This panel, I think it's just to strengthen the case a little bit. I think it serves any other particular purpose. So a fairly straightforward machine. A couple of sticks of RAM, maybe they work, maybe they don't. Phoenix BIOS by the look of it. We've got a old school modem card. Won't be needing that. What else have we got? We can see the back of a floppy drive. We've also got CD-ROM here and an A-open power supply. So before we try and fire this thing up, maybe we'll just simplify our problem a bit, and we'll take this modem card out because I'm not going to use that anyway. And yeah, could be faulty, but anyway, that's it. Does it even say? It's got a Connexent chipset on it. Ringer equivalence of 1. Doesn't even say what it is. I'm sure it's just one of those generic Win modems that used to cause ISPs so much grief 20 odd years ago. PCI, but we'll put it in the box of cards. Might be useful one day. For what, I'm not sure, but rightio. So I've got a power cord plugged in around the back, and I've got a VGA cable plugged in. No keyboard, no mouse, but we'll see what sort of noises we get out of it, if anything. Turn the power switch on, see if it goes bang. Well, it didn't go bang, that's a good start. So we've got power. There's no video. We've got a power light, but absolutely no video. Hit reset. Sounds like a floppy drive doing something. Oh no, it was a CD drive resetting. Let's try repowering it and see what we get. So while I was powering that up, I was just having a bit of a glance at the board, and yeah, you probably see what I can see. This capacitor has got its capacitor juice leaking out the top, and oh yeah, I can see another one. No, camera's not going to focus, but there's another one down in here that's got a little bulgy bulge going on. So I'm thinking we've got a bit of a capacitor problem happening. and yeah, I think it's time to take the board out of the case and have a closer look. So, oh yeah, I can see more capacitors that are unhappy. So, screw. Yep. Oh, we've got our auxiliary power connector over here. Right, so let's see how ugly this is. These caps through here, they look all right. They haven't, well, are they all right? I don't know, but they haven't started blowing electrolyte out the top yet. These ones look all right. That one is a little bit worse for wear. We've got one here, looks a bit worse for wear. One there, one there. This one's bulging. And that's just the regular electrolytics. We also have a bunch of these surface mount capacitors. Now, whether any of those are exhibiting problems as well, I don't know at this stage. But I think the first port of call is to replace these clearly problematic capacitors and see where we land from there. So I'll do that and I'll be back when those are replaced. So it's a few days later and my replacement capacitors came in and I've just recapped it. There's our little pile of dead ones. We can see there's a couple of the new ones on the board. There's a couple more over the back. And there's some more over here under the power connector. So we've got it hooked up to some power. Turn the power supply on. Nothing went pop. And these two pins should power it up. But they didn't. Oh, yes, they did. There we go. Oh, I got a beep. And I got a boot. So that's positive. I think at this point I might power this back down. Maybe we'll give the case a bit of a clean out and put it back together. As you can see, there's plenty of other caps on this board. I replaced these 1000 microfarad 6.3 volt caps sitting over here. I replaced those because they were clearly bulging and leaking. None of them had actually leaked onto the board, which was a good thing. The larger caps, like I think these are 2200 microfarads over here, they all look to be in reasonable condition, and none of the little surface mount ones in here appear to have dropped their guts either. So I don't see the point in replacing them just for the sake of replacing them. So yeah, anyway, we'll continue on. Clean the case out. It's just got dust in it. It's otherwise in pretty good condition. And yeah, we'll put it back together. I suppose given that I've got it apart and everything's accessible, I probably should take the opportunity just to clean out the heatsink. It is so long since I've pulled one of these off here. It feels like that should just pop off there, but it's, oh, there we go. There we go. We could do some thermal paste probably as well. But yeah, I just wanted to clean that out because it's a bit dirty looking. Right, so to get our way in here, we're going to have to take this off, a bit like that. And then these, I think you just push. Yeah, there we go. You just give them a push, and they pop out. So now we've got our fan blades we can clean and our heatsink. We've got a toothbrush here which we'll use for a start. And then just give that a blowout. And that's pretty much cleaned that. Now we'll just do our fan blades. Just give it a bit of a muck out while we're here, because you know, we're here, right? and then it's just the reverse process to put it back together. That goes in like that. That is in. That is in. And then this goes, I think, through there, and then over the top, like that, if I'm not mistaken. Now our pad here is a bit gnarly. I'm going to leave this off for the moment. And on our board, we're a bit dirty as well. So let's just get some alcohol here. I'm sure there's 1,000 opinions on how I should do this. This is how I'm doing it. If you think there's a better way, feel free to tell me in the comments. There's even more opinions about what sort of thermal paste you should use. And I suppose the next question is, should I leave, because that's basically like a thermal sticker of some description there, it's like a pad. Should I leave that there, or should I remove it? I don't know how well you can see that, but now that the CPU is clean on top, we can see it is indeed looks like a 1.7 gigahertz Celeron in a socket 478 by the look of it. The board itself, written over here, I don't know if I mentioned it before, but it's an MSI MS6533 version 1. So yeah, it should be a handy little board, I reckon. Now, I almost thought about not showing this because there's always opinions on heatsink compound, and this is just what I've got. Like, it's a ChemTools heatsink compound, thermally conductive silicon grease, blah 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 blah. It's, as I say, it's what I got, so that's what's going on. I mean, this is not a machine that's, if I can get it to even come out, this is not a machine that's ever going to do a lot of work, I don't think. And that's probably about all it's going to take. And yeah, not only is there 1,001 opinions on heatsink compound and which one you should use, but there's 1,001 opinions on how you should put it on. And yeah, this is how this one's getting done. And if it causes me problems later, you're more than welcome to tell me I told you so. I probably should have put this back on first, but anyway. This is really not the best way of doing this, I don't think. Oh, I see where misaligned. There we go. Right, now we can crank these back down. So, is that going to be a perfect heatsink compound application? Nah, probably not. But for who it's for, it will be fine. Okie dokie. So, giving the case a little bit of a refresher, and now we should be good to put this board back in. I hate these bloody back panel plates. They're always problematic. Get in there. What's your problem? We're lined up. Oh, there we go. Oh, this one's. I feel like we're all the way back though. Yeah, it is, but it just doesn't feel like it is. Now we can put our screws back in on a screwing device. Of course the board moves, doesn't it? Of course it does.
Just loosely put these in till we get everything aligned. If I had $1 for every time I did this back in the very late 80s and in the 90s, I'd probably have a few dollars. But I quickly grew sick of building computers and focused more on actually using them. And it used to be the case that you could spend a lot of time speccing a computer to make it perform well and do the things you needed it to do really well. But these days, for my use cases, pretty much anything I can buy second hand has more than enough get up and go for anything I would want to do. Right, so we've got, take that little jumper off there. Okay, so we've got to put some connectors back on. Now I know that one's the speaker, and the power switch is that one, and that's all I know. Right, and we've got the power LED, which I think is that one. I don't know which way round this goes, but we'll try it that way, and if it doesn't work, we'll turn it around. And then we've got the reset switch, which I believe goes here. Of course, that doesn't matter which way around that goes. And the hard drive LED goes there. So I think that's probably about right. We'll hook some, we'll find some power. Where's our power? Where's our power gone? Only gone too far. Right, there's our power, our motherboard power. So we can plug that in there. And then we've got our auxiliary power that can go in over here. Put that down out of the way. So in theory, we're now about back where we were before, except we're in a case. So we'll find a power cord, plug it in, turn it on. This time I can hit the power switch on the front, which is not bad. And we got the beep, so that's a good sign. I don't know that we're going to get anything on the hard drive LED because there's no hard drive. Okay, so I got it back together. I've thrown an Adaptec 2940 SCSI card in. No particular reason, I've just got it and thought it might be handy one day. Even though the board's got onboard video, it's only got a VGA output. So I put this ATI Radeon X1600 in. It's an AGP card, it's just one I had floating around. But this one has DVI output, which means I can feed it through a DVI to HDMI cable and capture it with OBS, which is kind of helpful. I've put an 80 gig parallel ATA hard drive in, and boy was that interesting to find. At some point, stupid me went and threw away all my parallel ATA drives apparently, and while I have a sea of serial ATA, I have exactly one parallel ATA, and that's it. We've got the 3.5 inch drive, the CD-ROM, and that's about it. And I've got a PS2 keyboard and mouse plugged in. So if I turn it on, so 768 mega RAM, there's the 2940 BIOS. And away we go. Interesting to see what my capture setup thinks of this screen resolution. It's off center obviously. See what it looks like when the desktop comes up. So I just reset my capture card, and yeah, it did get to the desktop, and there it is, Windows XP. I think it's like Service Pack 2 desktop. So next up, I'll put the lid back on, just give it a really cursory clean, and I'll be back when that's done. Well, there it is, back together. A little bit yellowed at the front, but otherwise it'll be all right with its CD burner and the floppy drive. Like, I paid $10 for the machine. The floppy drive's worth that. So yeah, this machine with XP on it will be handy for experimenting with some retro things in the future, I'm sure. I do want to put a 1.2 meg 5.25 in, but I don't have one. I've got some 360s, but not some 1.2s. But yeah, oh, and for anyone wondering about how legit the copy of XP is, the certificate of authenticity for XP is still on the side of the machine. So it's actually running a legit copy of XP. Yeah, so a fairly straightforward repair, a few capacitors to replace, and yeah, away it went. So yeah, this will end up on the shelf until I need it, and at that point you'll probably see it again. Anyway, that's about it for today. I'll leave you to the rest of your day. If you like what you saw, feel free to tap that like button. Doesn't cost you anything to do that. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Cheers.